sip lollipop. It's sweet trip to a candy shop where bonbons play on the sunny beach of Peppermint Bay. Lemonade stands everywhere, Cracker Jack bands fill the air, and there you are, happy landing.
She was the face of American optimism during one of the nation's darkest times, the Great Depression. But amidst the darkness, a symbol of purity, innocence, and joy emerged. But behind the iconic smile, behind the dimples and sparkling golden curl, lay a life far more complicated and tragic than anyone could have imagined. Shirley Temple's rise to fame may have seemed like a fairy tale, but the world of Hollyweird hides many dark secrets, including exploitation, abuse, and control. And Shirley was not immune to its shadow. This is the untold story of how the industry's darker side consumed the childhood of one of the world's most beloved stars. Welcome to Behind the Stardom, Temple in Tinseltown. Shirley Temple's star was born when she was just 3 years old, thrust into the Hollywood limelight at an age when most children were still discovering the world around them. But for Shirley, there was no time for play or exploration. She wasn't just a child, she was a product. From the moment her career began, Hollyweird studio heads like Daryl F. Zana saw her as a gold mine. In the middle of the Great Depression, people craved joy and escapism, and Shirley Temple became their escape, whether she liked it or not. By the age of 6, she was already the biggest box office draw in America. But behind the camera, Shirley's life was anything but glamorous. As soon as she could walk, she was taught how to dance. As soon as she could speak, she was taught how to deliver lines. Shirley wasn't living a normal childhood. She was being groomed to carry the weight of a struggling industry on her tiny little shoulders. Studio executives wanted perfection, and they got it, even if it meant breaking the spirit of a little girl. Hollyweird in the 1930s was no place for a child. While Shirley became a symbol of innocence, she was surrounded by adults who did not view her as a child at all. Instead, she was an object, a commodity that could be molded, manipulated, and sold to the highest bidder. Stories have emerged about the shocking ways Shirley was mistreated by those who should have been protecting her. Directors would deliberately scare her or cause her physical pain just to capture a more authentic reaction on camera. One infamous story tells of how Shirley was forced to cry real tears during emotional scenes, her director going so far as to tell her her mother had died just to break her spirit. Such treatment wasn't unique to Shirley, but what made her situation even worse was the relentless schedule she was kept on. She worked long hours, often 6 days a week, with little to no time for schooling or personal life. Studio executives controlled everything, even limiting her bathroom breaks to make sure she didn't miss a shot. Shirley's world revolved around making other people money, and as she became more famous, the pressure only grew. Shirley Temple's fame didn't just come with physical and emotional exhaustion. It came with danger. As she grew older, she became the target of some of the most powerful and predatory figures in Hollywood. Even as a child, Shirley was not spared from the lecherous advances of industry men. One of the most disturbing stories involves a notorious Hollyweird producer who attempted to proposition her at the age of 12. The story goes that Shirley, ever the professional, laughed it off, thinking it was a joke. But for her mother, who witnessed the horrifying moment, it was no laughing matter. She shielded her daughter from the immediate danger, but it was only one instance of a much larger pattern of abuse of power. And Shirley wasn't alone. Child stars throughout Hollyweird's history have faced similar predation, from Judy Garland to Natalie Wood. The studio system turned a blind eye to such behavior. as long as the profits kept rolling in. Shirley was made to feel that the price of her fame was unquestionable obedience to those in power, no matter how inappropriate or immoral their behavior might be. As Shirley began to grow up, Hollyweird turned its back on her. Audience who had adored her childlike innocence no longer wanted to see her in more adult roles. The transition was brutal. Movies featuring a teenage Shirley Temple were flops, and soon the studios began to distance themselves from the star they once worshipped. Shirley was left adrift, a relic of Hollywood's past, struggling to find her place in an industry that had no use for her anymore. Her childhood, her innocence, her identity, all had been taken from her. She was forced to mature before she was ready. And when she finally did, Hollyweird abandoned her. At just 22 years old, Shirley Temple retired from acting. The studio system that had exploited her childhood left her with no guidance, no support, and no future in the industry she had once dominated. The fall from grace was swift, and Shirley was left to pick up the pieces of a life she had never been in control of. Though Shirley eventually found a second career as a diplomat and political figure, the shadows of her Hollyweird past never fully left her. In interviews, she spoke carefully about her experiences, but it was clear that the trauma of her childhood in the industry lingered. Shirley never publicly addressed all the rumors or the full extent of the exploitation she faced, but her eyes told a different story. Even in her later years, Shirley remained a woman whose innocence had been taken by an industry more concerned with profit than people. Her life stands as a stark reminder of the toll that Hollyweird's dark side can take on its youngest stars. Behind the glitz and glamour of the silver screen, there is a legacy of trauma, one that Shirley Temple carried with her for the rest of her life. She may have brought joy to millions, but the price of that joy was her own childhood. Shirley Temple may have survived Hollyweird's darkest day, but others weren't so fortunate. For every Shirley, there were countless others whose lives were ruined by the industry's insatiable hunger for youth and innocence. Hollyweird has long been a breeding ground for the exploitation and abuse of its youngest stars. Shirley's story, though tragic, is not unique, but it stands as one of the earliest and clearest warnings of the devastating toll that fame, control, and predatory behavior can take on those most vulnerable. The golden age of Hollyweird may have dazzled the world with its glitz and glamour, but behind the bright lights, there was always a darkness that swallowed whole the childhoods and innocence of those who stepped into its spotlight. Shirley Temple was one of the lucky ones, able to escape before it completely consumed her. It's a darkness that swallowed whole the childhood and innocence of those who stepped into its spotlight. Join us in this new mini-series as we peel back the layers of Tinseltown's brightest stars and expose the hidden costs of their fame. From exploitation to manipulation, we uncover the untold truths of what really happens behind the cameras. This is Hollyweird Untold. Until next time, remember, Hollyweird is a stage where reality often wears a mask, because in the land of dreams, the truth can be a nightmare.
Where over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true.
She was the girl with the golden voice, a symbol of hope for millions. Judy Garland, with her innocent face and extraordinary talent, captured the hearts of audiences across the globe. But beneath the iconic performances, behind the glittering lights of Hollywood, there was another story, one of tragedy, exploitation, and heartbreaking loss. Today, we pull back the curtain to reveal the darker truth behind Judy Garland's rise and fall. This is the untold story of a star whose light was stolen far too soon. Welcome to Hollyweird Untold, a Garland in ruby slippers. Judy Garland was born Frances Ethel Gum in 1922. From a young age, her talent was undeniable. She was the youngest of 3 daughters born to vaudeville performers, and by the age of 13, she was already signed to MGM, one of the most powerful studios in Hollyweird. But while Judy's voice and charisma were quickly recognized as star quality, Hollyweird would take far more from her than it ever gave. Judy's life was never truly her own. From the moment she entered the studio system, executives controlled every aspect of her existence. Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM, quickly realized Judy's potential and pushed her into grueling work schedules. She was forced to perform one film after another, working long hours with little to no rest. But for Judy, the true cost was more personal. It was the loss of her childhood. One of the darkest chapters in Judy Garland's life was her dependence on pills, a habit fostered by none other than the MGM studio system itself. In order to maintain her grueling work schedule, studio executives introduced Judy to amphetamines to keep her awake and energized during long shoots. At the same time, they prescribed her barbiturates to help her sleep after filming. Judy was just a teenager when this deadly cycle began, an addiction that would follow her for the rest of her life. The pressure was relentless. Executives monitored her diet, controlling her food intake to maintain a certain figure. Judy was frequently placed on extreme diets, sometimes going days without solid meals. And whenever her energy flagged or her weight fluctuated, more pills were the answer. Hollyweird didn't care for the well-being of the girl behind the talent. They only cared for the profitable star she had become. She was a product designed to entertain the masses and generate profits for a multi-million-dollar industry. But the constant manipulation, the dependency on drugs, and the physical and emotional toll of it all left Judy fighting a losing battle. Behind the glamorous costumes and hit song, Judy Garland was spiraling into darkness, her health deteriorating under the weight of Hollyweird's relentless demands. For many, The Wizard of Oz is Judy Garland's crowning achievement, a timeless performance that earned her a place in cinematic history. But few know the true story of what Judy endured while filming this beloved classic. Behind the fantasy of Oz was an environment riddled with cruelty and exploitation. At just 16 years old, Judy was still struggling with her image. Louis B. Mayer had her tightly corseted to achieve a more youthful appearance, and her weight was constantly monitored. But perhaps most disturbing was the way she was treated by some of her fellow cast members. Stories have surfaced over the years about Judy being harassed by some of the actors portraying the Munchkins, men much older than her, some of whom reportedly acted inappropriately during filming. Despite these conditions, Judy delivered one of the most memorable performances of her career, but the cost was tremendous. By the time filming was wrapped, her dependency on pills had intensified, and the pressures of fame were beginning to crush her spirit. Dorothy may have escaped Oz, but for Judy, there was no simple path back to Kansas. As Judy transitioned into adulthood, she struggled to maintain her place in a changing Hollyweird. The studios had built her into a star, but they had also systematically broken her down. In her early 20s, Judy sought independence, desperate to escape the suffocating control of MGM. But freedom didn't come easily. Her mental health began to unravel under the relentless pressure. She was labeled difficult and unreliable by the same industry that had forced her into an unsustainable lifestyle. In 1950, after years of being treated as little more than a commodity, MGM dropped Judy Garland from her contract, a decision that marked the beginning of her public decline. But even as her personal life spiraled out of control, Judy's talent remained undeniable. She staged numerous comebacks, her voice as breathtaking as ever. But behind each performance, she battled demons that refused to let her go. Alcohol and prescription drug abuse, depression, and failed marriages compounded her struggles, each one chipping away at the brilliant yet fragile woman she'd become. Judy Garland's life ended in tragedy. By the late 1960s, her career was a shadow of what it once was. She had become a cautionary tale in Hollyweird, a superstar broken by the very system that created her. On June 22, 1969, Judy Garland was found deceased in her London apartment from an overdose of barbiturates. She was just 47 years old. The world mourned the loss of one of its brightest stars, but beneath the tribute and the headlines, there was an uncomfortable truth. Judy Garland's death was not simply a tragedy of personal failings. It was the final, inevitable outcome of years of mistreatment, exploitation, and an industry that cared more about profit than the well-being of the people who built it. Judy Garland's legacy is one of brilliance, beauty, and tragic loss. She gave the world everything she had, and yet the world took far more than it ever gave back. Behind the stunning performances and iconic roles was a woman struggling to survive in an industry that so often destroyed its brightest talent. Judy Garland was a victim of Hollywood's darkest practices, but she was also a symbol of resilience, an artist who, despite everything, continued to shine, even as her own world crumbled. Her story serves as a reminder that even the brightest stars are vulnerable, and that the cost of fame can be far higher than anyone ever imagined. Join us next time as we continue to peel back the layers of Tinseltown's brightest stars and expose the hidden cost of their fame. From exploitation to manipulation, we uncover the untold truth of what really happened behind the cameras. Until next time, remember, Hollyweird is a stage where reality often wears a mask, because in the land of dreams, the truth can be a nightmare.
Bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow. Why, oh, why can't
I can only give you love that lasts forever, and a promise to be near each time you call, and the only heart I own for you and you alone. That's all.
Dorothy Dandridge was more than a star. She was a pioneer, a symbol of beauty, talent, and resilience in an era of racial segregation and systematic discrimination. With her breathtaking performances, she shattered stereotypes and defied the limitations imposed on Black actresses. But behind her rise to fame, Dorothy's story was one of pain, isolation, and betrayal. A story that reflects not just the hardships of one woman, but the brutal realities of an industry that welcomed her beauty while exploiting her soul. This is the untold tragic story of Dorothy Dandridge. Welcome to Hollyweird Untold, an ebony rose in a room of thorns. Dorothy Dandridge was born in 1922, a time when segregation still defined America's social fabric. As a child, she and her sister Vivian formed the Dandridge Sisters, performing in clubs and venues that catered to Black audiences. It was clear from the start that Dorothy was destined for stardom. Her beauty and natural talent caught the eye of Hollyweird producers. But this was no golden ticket. Hollyweird, even in its most glorious days, was a town deeply entrenched and racism. For Black performers, no matter how talented, the industry had little to offer beyond caricature roles that reinforced demeaning stereotypes. Dorothy's early career was marked by these limited roles: maids, singers, or background characters, but never the lead. Hollyweird studios were hesitant to cast Black actors in significant parts, fearing backlash from white audiences. But Dorothy knew she was destined for more. She refused to be boxed in by Hollyweird's racist limitations. She was determined to carve her path to the top despite the cost. In 1954, Dorothy Dandridge made history. Her role in Carmen Jones was a revelation. She was magnetic, fierce, and undeniably talented. Her portrayal of Carmen broke every barrier Hollyweird had placed before her. For the first time, a Black actress was not only the lead in a major motion picture, but a nominee for the prestigious Academy Award for Best Actress. This was a victory, not just for Dorothy, but for every Black performer who had been denied a place in the spotlight. But even with this groundbreaking achievement, the road ahead was not easy. Hollyweird was still not ready to embrace a Black woman as a full-fledged star. Despite her historic Oscar nomination, Dorothy's offers were limited. She was typecast, her roles restricted to the same exoticized characters that define Hollyweird's limited view of Black femininity, while white actresses of her caliber received starring roles in romantic films and drama. Dorothy was still seen as the Black woman who could only play a certain kind of role. It was a devastating reality for an actress of her talent and ambition. Behind the glamour, Dorothy's life was marked by profound isolation. Though she was celebrated for her talent, she was constantly reminded that she was not truly welcome in Hollyweird's elite circles. Even at the height of her career, Dorothy was subject to blatant racism. She was refused entry into certain hotels, turned away at restaurants, and treated as a second-class citizen in a town she helped to redefine. The color of her skin was an obstacle she could never fully overcome in the industry that profited from her. Dorothy's personal life was equally fraught. Her marriage to dancer Harold Nicholas, which began in passion, ended in heartache. Harold's infidelity and absence left Dorothy to raise their daughter, Carolyn, alone. To make matters worse, their daughter was born with severe brain damage, adding another layer of hardship to Dorothy's already troubled life. Dorothy struggled to balance the pressures of her career, pain of a broken marriage, and the heartbreak of raising a disabled child in an unforgiving world. Her relationship with Otto Preminger, while offering her roles and brief moments of affection, also turned sour. Preminger promised her lead roles and Hollywood success, but when it came time to deliver, he abandoned her, both professionally and personally. Dorothy's trust was broken by every man who had convinced her to chase bigger dreams. Once again, Dorothy found herself betrayed, this time by love and promises of Hollyweird. As years passed, Dorothy's struggles began to mount. The roles dried up. Hollyweird had moved on, leaving Dorothy behind. She tried to revive her career in the 1960s, performing in nightclubs and taking small television roles. But the industry that once adored her now saw her as yesterday's news. Despite her effort, Dorothy's career never fully recovered, and the personal toll of her Hollyweird journey became far too much to bear. As the offers disappeared, so did Dorothy's sense of self. The weight of financial instability, coupled with the responsibility of caring for her daughter, pushed Dorothy to the brink. In her later years, she battled severe depression and mental health issues. The traumas of her life in Hollyweird never far from her mind. Her star had once burned so brightly, but it had been extinguished by the very industry that lit the flame. On September 8, 1965, Dorothy Dandridge was found deceased in her apartment from an overdose of antidepressants. She was only 42 years old. Official reports declared it an accident, but many close to her speculated that it was more than that. Dorothy had lived a life of extraordinary highs and devastating lows, and the world she worked so hard to conquer had ultimately consumed her. Her death marked the end of a life filled with broken promises and shattered dreams. But in death, her legacy only grew. Today, she is remembered as a trailblazer, a woman who opened doors for Black actresses in Hollyweird, even if those same doors slammed shut on her. Her talent, beauty, and courage in the face of systematic racism paved the way for future generations, though she herself never fully reaped the reward of her sacrifices. Dorothy Dandridge was more than just a beautiful face. She was a woman who fought for her place in an industry that didn't want her, a pioneer who helped to change the face of Hollyweird forever. But her story, like so many others, is a tragic reminder of the cost of fame and the struggle for acceptance in a world that often rejects you for who you are. Join us next time as we continue to peel back the layers of Tinseltown's brightest stars and expose the hidden costs of their fame. From exploitation to manipulation, we uncover the untold truths of what really happened behind the cameras. Until next time, remember, Hollyweird is a stage where reality often wears a mask, because in the land of dreams, the truth can be a nightmare.
You'll be glad to know that my demands are small. Say it's me that you adore for now and evermore. That's all. That's all.
The ocean, how thee dost captivate my soul with thy waves like liquid diamonds, and thy depths a wonderland to behold. In yonder sea where dreams and waters blend, my heart finds solace where all sorrows end. Thy waves like crashing whispers from lovers' lips to ear, in their ebb and flow secret hearts crystal clear, like poetry penned and kissed by the gods above. Thy beauty, sweet beauty, a testament to eternal love. Thou art my secret love, all ocean blue and deep. In thy depths I find true expression, for thou, my dear ocean, art my eternal obsession. My secret obsession. Chocolate, like a sweet confection crafted by fair hands divine. In its rich depths, my heart doth joyously entwine. With each bite, a symphony of flavors does dance, a culinary delight, a treat of sweet romance. Oh, chocolate, my chocolate, thou art my muse, my sweetest sensation. In thy embrace I find my truest elation. In thy decadence, I find my truest expression. For thou, my dear chocolate, art my eternal obsession. My secret obsession. In the vast expanse among the ancient reefs, the sea's mysteries unfurl. Among the ancient reefs, the ocean gives way to where ancient creatures dwell. With each sleek glide, a dance of strength and grace. In thy silent realm, thou hold a noble place. Like a predator, home by nature's ancient design. In thy fierceness, I find a beauty divine. Thy intensity and power enlivens conversation. In thy magnificence, I find my truest expression. For thee, my dear shine, art my eternal obsession. In the social media justice system, ignorance-based offenses are considered especially ludicrous. On the enter of the net, the dedicated she-tectives who investigate these absurdities are members of an elite squad known as the Caught Being Ignorant Unit. These are their stories. Empress, we have a case. Well, lay it on me, detective. Well, I was over at Instagram and, well, I don't think you're gonna like this one. Who's the culprit this time? We're calling this the case of the $30 lunch. And there's video footage. Another one of those, huh? Well, lay it on me, detective. Brace yourself, Empress. This is gonna get ignorant.
Okay, so y'all, story time. So y'all, please tell me if I'm wrong. So today this dude wrote me on Instagram and he was like, can I send you money? Let me send you money for lunch. So I was like, okay. I wrote him back and I was like, send it. So he wrote me and was like, okay, what's your cash app? So I sent him the cash app. Yeah, I just knew I was gonna open my cash app and I was gonna have at least probably about $100. You get what I'm saying? Because like this, I eat and that's how much I spend on my food. Yeah, I opened my cash app and this man sent me $30.
Wait a second. Let me see if I got this right. So someone offered to pay for her lunch and she's upset because she only got $30. Am I getting this story right, detective? Empress, wait, there's more.
Yeah, it's $30. And I'm just like, at first I'm like, damn, like, am I ungrateful? Like, am I fucked up? Like, feeling like, why the fuck would you send me $30? But then I had to ask people and they was like, nah, because I'm like, $30 is not even half a tank in my car. Like, what the fuck you thought I was gonna go to Chick-fil-A? Like, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what did you think I was gonna eat? It's like, when I go and eat, I eat full course meals. Like, I order a appetizer, a entree, and a dessert, and a drink. That can't even get me 2 drinks. Like, what the fuck? And then this man had the audacity to write me back and say, let me get to know you. Why the fuck do you think I'm gonna let you get to know me? You just send me $30 for lunch. Is you dumb? I mean, like, y'all be for real. Like, tell me, am I wrong? Like, am I fucked up? Like, is my head fucked up? Like, I don't even spend $30 on lunch on my, like, I spend over that on myself. So it's like, for someone to think they're gonna send me, I get that this is out the account, like, you didn't have to send the $30, but it's like, no, like, nigga, I'm not that type of, I'm not one of them.
Did she really fix her mouth to ask if she's fucked up? Someone was nice enough to send you money for lunch and it... Detective, call the team together. We need to have a debriefing. So are we taking on the case? Absolutely. Make sure everyone in the room has a chair and tell them to scoot up for a second and let's chat. Ladies of the Caught Being Ignorant unit, we have a case. This is the case of the $30 lunch. You've all seen the video, and I have to say, ignorance like this sets us back as women, and we wonder why men are no longer gentlemen, why they no longer take us out and paint the town red, why they no longer open car doors and wine us and dine us, why they no longer treat us like ladies. It's because of women like this. Women who value the almighty dollar more than they value chivalry. Now, I'm not saying she's a gold digger, but if it walks like a duck and quacks like one, well, you know, let the cards fall where they may. According to the video, a man offered to send this girl, because I can't call her a lady, money for lunch. And instead of this delusional dingbat just saying thank you, she gets offended because he didn't send her $100. What in the hell does she need $100 for lunch for? Last I checked, lunch is only an hour if you're working. And who is spending that much money on lunch anyway? No, she wasn't looking for a man. She was looking for a financier. She's looking for a trick. Someone to spend all of their money on her with no expectations of anything in return. Yeah, one of those. She was looking for lunch, dinner, and some extra on the side. Probably looking to add some extra money to the money she probably already received from another simp that easily falls for a big butt and a smile. And we wonder why men are so quick to call us hoes. It's this behavior. You wonder why you think all men are dogs? Well, it's this behavior that creates them. No, we can't continue to talk about the way men dog us as if there aren't women like this lifting their tails to them. Just like men are dogs, never forget that a bitch is a female version. We're okay when we can get what we want out of them and laugh afterward, but we throw a hissy fit when he pulls the Uno reverse and does the same. We can all say it's chestnut checkers and the game is to protect the queen, but always remember, there is no game without a king on the board. Just like without us, they cease to exist. Without them, no one exists. So why not learn how to value each other and be appreciative to each other so we all can exist and build a kingdom? Because this behavior doesn't build, it destroys. It creates bitter women and angry, vindictive men, and then who benefits? You were offered money for lunch, not life. Be grateful that someone thought enough to send you something to brighten your day, to make it so that you didn't have to come out of your pocket. And if you felt it wasn't enough, send it back. Then she says he wanted to take her out and she said no because he only sent $30. Some of you ladies are going to miss out on your blessing. Miss your knight in shining armor trying to count his pockets. Because when a real man comes to the table, he's going to want you to put something on it besides your looks. It's not always about the money. Sometimes it's just being grateful for the gesture. When did we get like this? When did we get so money hungry that all we care about is how many zeros are attached? When was the last time you sent someone something just because they were on your mind? Or is it all about what someone can do for you? Scoot up. So that's what you spend on yourself. So you spend $100 a day on yourself for food because that's what you're talking about. Food, right? So that's $700 a week. $2,800 a month. Do you have your own house? Do you have your own money invested? Is your bank account triple that? Do you have children? Do they have a college fund? Do you have a rainy day fund? Or are you renting like you expect men to rent you? Real or not, a skit wouldn't exist if the behavior hadn't been exhibited. And why portray yourself as such? Oh, I know, for clicks and views, because we'll do anything for clout, right? So, detectives, you have your notes. Go out and learn gratefulness and appreciation, so you won't be devalued by trying to sell yourself to the highest bidder. I expect more out of you, so you should expect more from yourselves. Always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, it's causing you to depreciate. Dismiss. In the social media justice system, ignorance-based offenses are considered especially ludicrous. On the enter of the net, the dedicated she-tectives who investigate these absurdities are members of an elite squad known as the Caught Being Ignorant Unit. These are their stories. Consequence. Hey, repercussion girl. Girl, have you seen this story about the Christmas tree? A Christmas tree? What did they do? Steal presents? I wish it were that simple. Girl, take a look at this. Do you think Empress will take the case? Child, this is a case if I've ever seen. Detectives. Consequence. Repercussion. What are you two gawking at? So I was showing Repercussions a case that you might be interested in. Oh, really? Lay it on me, detective. We're calling it Grabska and the Tree. And I don't think you're gonna like it. More video footage. No, but there is an article. Brace yourself, Empress. This is going to get ignorant. According to USA Today, a woman in Ireland lost more than $800,000 in an injury lawsuit stemming from a car crash after photos showed her launching a Christmas tree during a post-holiday competition and winning the event. Kamila Grabska, 36, sued an insurance agency in the country after a 2017 car crash she claimed caused her debilitating neck and back pain that prevented her from holding down a job for 5 years. The car accident was the result of someone hitting Grabska's car from the rear and allegedly left her unable to carry her young children or complete household chores. She quit her job shortly after, received disability payments, and argued that her previous and future lost income totaled more than $500,000, according to the Telegraph. Newspaper reports, however, soon surfaced of Grabska competing in a Christmas tree throwing event on January 8, 2018, nearly a year after the accident supposedly left her with disabling pain. The Irish High Court reviewed the photo of Grabska launching a tree, which the judge, Carmel Stewart, described as a very graphic picture, according to Telegraph. The competition involves people throwing roughly 5-foot spruce trees as far as they are able. The judges reported as saying, "It is a very large natural Christmas tree, and it is being thrown by her in a very agile movement. I'm afraid I cannot but conclude the claims were entirely exaggerated. On that basis, I propose to dismiss the claim," according to the Irish Independent. Grabska denied that she faked her injuries while in court, saying she was trying to live a normal life. If I only had a brain. So, Empress, are we going to take the case? Absolutely, my dear Watson. Consequence, repercussion. Call the girls together. It's time for a debriefing. Make sure they have chairs and tell them to scoot up for a second and let's chat. Roger that, Empress. Repercussion. Let's go. Detectives, thank you for joining me in the debriefing room. We have another ignorant case presented to us by social media, and it is absolutely ludicrous. This case has been labeled Grabska and the Tree, and how fitting her name. Apparently, she grabbed an approximately 5-foot Christmas tree during a competition and was caught on camera launching it, all while having an open disability case for over $800,000 due to an accident that she stated left her debilitated and unable to work for 5 years or able to lift her children. Yet she allows herself to be caught on camera tossing a 5-foot tree, and her response to it is, "I'm trying to live a normal life." She can't be this dumb. She just can't be. Did she not realize that when you have an insurance claim, especially for such a large amount of money that she's asking for, they are watching you, dumb diddy? These people are watching when you least expect it. And of all the things that you can do to quote unquote live a normal life, you choose not lifting your children, which would be more believable, Scarecrow, but you choose to go to a competition and toss trees. Trees, girl, if I only had a brain. You can't make this stuff up. Y'all know the song. And if you don't know what song I'm talking about, just hold on for a second. I'll play it for you. For that lean, mean green, almighty dollar, money. You know the Bible told us that the love of money is the root of all evil. And it is. That's why you shouldn't trust anybody who cares more about getting to the bag than anything else, because they're willing to do anything or anyone to get it. The even bigger problem is she would have gotten away with it if it weren't for that pesky little tree. She would have. But that's the problem with being a scammer, right? You start feeling untouchable. In her mind, I'm sure she thought she was set. $800,000? 200 short of a meal? She thought it was smooth sailing, but the problem was the case was not yet concluded. She did this a year after her accident, to toss a whole tree after telling the court you couldn't carry your children, finish basic chores, or lift a heavy bag. At times, she needed her medication to be brought to her in bed due to the pain. You got in a competition and tossed a tree, and now your claim is rejected. This is what happens when you're greedy. You don't think. You don't think about the long run. You rob someone, you don't think about retaliation. You rob a bank, you don't think about prison. You rob a store, you don't think about the cameras. All you care about. And we wonder why the world is so evil. Because they don't care about your life. They want the money. They don't care about your children. They don't care about the loved ones you'll leave behind. They'll leave behind. They just care about the money. I had 2 pit bulls, right? Big boys. I mean, big boys. And they would go at it, and I would have to break them up. People would always ask me or tell me, "Oh my God, you're not scared of getting bit?" And I would tell them, when pit bulls are locked on their target, they don't care about you. They care about their target. And I'm never fool enough to get in between them to break them up. That's a death sentence. I grab them by their collars and lift their collars and pull them apart, courtesy of Caesar Milan. When a person is locked on money, getting in their way can be absolutely deadly. It can have deadly consequences. But it's because the world has an insatiable lust for money. We saw it during the pandemic. People rushed to get PPP loans. No one thought about, how am I going to explain claiming I have a business that makes over $600,000 a year and I'm on government assistance? No one thought that unemployment would eventually find out because it's all government money. No one thought about the consequences and repercussions until them itches with a bee came knocking at their door. Just like this, Scarecrow. No brain. Now you have a big ass, but a bigger record for the love of money. Shetectives. It's okay to desire money, but when you get to a place where you love it more than anything else, more than almost life itself, you become dangerous because you'll do anything to get it, and you'll do even more to keep it. Use your head. Remember our parents used to tell us that? Or maybe the problem is that our parents now are so busy reaping the benefits that they too aren't thinking about the consequences. I expect better from you, so I would hope you would expect better from yourselves. Always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, it's causing you to depreciate. Dismiss. Consequence. Hey, repercussion girl. Have you heard this story about the trigger and the book? Girl, what is it, a hood Harry Potter story? I wish it were that simple. Girl, take a look at this. Do you think Empress will take the case? Child, this is a case if I've ever seen. Detectives, consequence, repercussion. What are you two gawking at? So I was showing Repercussions a case that you might be interested in. Oh, really? Lay it on me, detective. We're calling it The Trigger and the Book. And I don't think you're gonna like it. More video footage. Yeah. Brace yourself, Empress. This is going to get ignorant.
I'm just not going to just set it and just shoot it. No, I'm going to stand behind it.
Sometimes wanting to go viral can cost you your life. Pedro Ruiz wanted to go viral, and he wanted to start his channel off with a bang. For more than a month, he was begging his girlfriend, Mona Lisa Perez, to help him with the video by firing a bullet into a book he had. She was really hesitant at first, saying things like, "Babe, I'm not doing it." Pedro had showed her a book that he fired into, and the bullet that he used didn't fully pierce the hardcover book. He told her that as long as she hit the book like this, he would be okay.
I may fail, but if I fail, I want to die trying.
Sadly, she did hit the book, and it went right through and into Pedro. His girlfriend received a 90-day jail sentence, and also 90 days at home in confinement. She is now permanently banned from owning a firearm, and the sad part is, she was pregnant with their second child, and now her kids have to grow up without a firearm.
Thing I'm going to be showing you guys on my channel, you guys are going to be saying, "Damn it, boy."
For more than a month, Mona Lisa Perez said her boyfriend had been begging her to launch his YouTube channel with a bang.
So, babe, let's go ahead and show them what we have in store for our first video.
On June 26th last year, she says she finally gave in. Perez told investigators that Pedro Ruiz had showed her a book before where a bullet didn't fully pierce a hardcover book.
I'm just not going to just set it and just shoot it. No. I'm going to stand behind it, and Mona Lisa is going to shoot it.
For 15 minutes, the camera first captures his rambling plans.
Every week, I'm going to be bringing you guys new videos, crazy videos.
Before he shows off what's been billed as the world's most powerful handgun.
This is a 50 caliber Desert Eagle.
19-year-old Perez is 7 months pregnant with their second child. Well, the Norman County attorney denied releasing video of the single shot that killed Ruiz, calling it offensive to common sensibilities. A transcript of the audio reveals her hesitation. "Babe, I'm not doing this. I can't. If I kill you, what's gonna happen to my life? Like, no, this isn't okay. As long as you hit the book, you'll be fine," Ruiz says. These pictures show she did, standing an arm's length away. A young man craving fame who got it for all the wrong reasons.
I may fail, but if I fail, I want to die trying.
For her part, Perez received a 90-day jail sentence. She'll serve 90 more days at home in confinement. Perez will also not be allowed to profit from the video, and she is permanently banned, Amelia, from owning a firearm.
All right. Thank you, Liz.
So, Empress, are we gonna take the case? Absolutely, my dear Watson. Consequence, repercussion. Call the girls together. It's time for a debriefing. Make sure they have chairs and tell them to scoot up for a second and let's chat. Roger that, Empress. Repercussion. Let's go. Detectives, thank you for joining me in the debriefing room. We have another ignorant case presented to us by social media, and it is absolutely ludicrous. We're calling this story The Trigger and the Book. And here's the story. A young man decides to create the perfect stunt in order to launch his YouTube channel. The stunt, having his girlfriend place a gold Desert Eagle to a book against his chest and pulling the trigger.
And if I only had a brain.
Needless to say, it didn't work out how he planned. He's no longer here, and the girlfriend has been charged in his unaliving. But why? All for fame? Is the price you have to pay for fame worth the fame itself? If we could ask Pedro, what do you think he would say? Just like all money ain't good money, all fame ain't good fame. What do you want to be known for? Pedro is now known for the stunt that didn't work. So he achieved what he requested, but not the way he wanted it. Be careful what you ask for and what you're willing to do to get it. This is the danger of always wanting a one-up, always wanting to be bigger, never being satisfied. Fame for some is a drug all inhibition goes out the window because it's become your obsession. Fame, wanting to be seen, wanting to be noticed, wanting a following. We used to have a saying, go big or go home. We didn't think we had to place a warning label on it when we put it out. Everybody wants to be seen so bad, they'll do anything, including putting their own life in danger to get it. You don't stop to think about who you'll hurt, who you'll leave behind, who'll be affected, including yourself. Who'll have to answer for your foolishness when you're gone. Now, this young lady has a charge of manslaughter because she allowed her children's father to talk her into participating in a stunt that could injure him and her. Is this what y'all think love is? Being a ride or die? Going along with foolishness just to say you've got somebody's back? Now a family has to struggle with a loss. Children have to struggle with not having their dad. And this girlfriend has to struggle with knowing she's the one pulled the trigger. You always have freedom of choice. You don't always have freedom of consequence. And this is the consequence of his choice. See, that's what y'all don't stop to think about. Consequences. When did we lose common sense? Because common sense that should be common to everyone, just isn't common anymore. Because who does this? One of the first things our parents tells us is don't play with guns. They aren't toys. They aren't props for stunts. They are weapons. They're to protect and defend. But these weapons in the hands of the immature can be detrimental. A gun has one purpose: to immobilize, to exact deadly force and deadly consequences against the one it's fired at. And you would willingly play with one for laughs and giggles and for a wow factor.
And if I only had a brain.
If I only had a brain. You should want to be known for leaving a legacy, for making change, for starting a revolution, for creating change, not for creating a channel. Some of y'all like to tempt fate, tempt the sands of time, hanging out of car windows at top speeds, twerking on top of moving cars. Same thing. Power in the hands of the immature, because even with vehicles, you don't understand the power you have in your possession. Life matters, but it has to first matter to you. I expect better from you, so I would hope you would expect better from yourselves. Always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, it's causing you to depreciate. Dismissed.